Welcome back, MTG Joe here. Today we're going to be looking at our weekly meta breakdown for the timeless best of 1 format. I'm trying to get data for best of 3. Unfortunately, for whatever reason, we're getting, you can see on the screen, Omnitell data, show and tell data for best of 1. Best of 3, we're not getting the data to flow in. We're not seeing really decks with show and tell included in it, which makes it a little bit of a pain. To kind of give a full breakdown. I raised the issue again to Untapped folks, but just looking to kind of break through that. If we don't get it by like midweek, I'll pull up some lists independently. So we'll look at the stats, at least from independent games, and then we'll look at like a couple lists, sample lists of the best of 3 show and tell versions. So just kind of giving folks an update on that as we kind of proceed through. So we're going to look today again, best of 1. As always, we get the data from Untapped.gg, companion tool, aggregates user win rates, because some stats, because breakdowns in terms of popularity of folks that are using the tool, in terms of what decks they're playing in the format, as well as the corresponding win rates themselves. So if you want to use Untapped, link is in the video description. I'll include all these deck lists, timestamp them, get everything going from there. So as always, we start off, we're going to look at popularity, and then we'll go about and look at the game. So for games played towards the end of the month, we're going to go Diamond to Mythic rank. Kind of an interesting thing here. If we just kind of move this filter to Diamond to Mythic rank, 4-color Leyline Geist, 84% popularity. Kind of my feelings of the format right now. You're just getting a lot of this deck being played. It's very much a just keep mulliganing till you maybe get something. Games are quick with it. It's, in my opinion, not fun if you win or lose with it. It's just kind of a mull. Do you get something? Yes or no? And then kind of go from there. So in terms of Platinum to Mythic, we get a little bit more diversity. We're seeing Omnitell, show and tell deck at 24%. The Leyline deck here is only 15%. Domain at 7.5%. Burn, Storm, and then we kind of go down. The Esper Leyline is just a variant is this. The Winota deck's really fallen off in terms of win rate this week. Jund is really low in terms of win rate this week. We have the Realmbreaker deck, which has been picking up popularity in the mid-50s as well. I'm actually curious, just looking. Nothing for Mythic this week. But interesting to kind of see where things are shaping up. Like you look at the, at least in Diamond rank, it's kind of wild. It's literally just, it doesn't even show up. It's like so ridiculously high. It's only up to 28%, so it doesn't even show where the line is. It's just kind of silly. Actually, 4-color Leyline, there it is. Sorry, I had it tapped out. But yeah, 83%, just crazy representation that's seeing play there. Looking at the actual Platinum to Mythic, we see like the Omnitell deck kind of coming up the last week or so. 15 kind of dropped in popularity and it's been picking up again since the ladder reset. We see like the Domain decks. Most of the fair mid-range kind of grind decks have fallen off. So looking at the data itself, Diamond to Mythic rank, we had just a shade under 10,000 games of best of 1 played. This number's actually kind of come down a bit as well. Curiously, just looking like Historic in the same time has seen more games at 15,000. So more of a jump in Historic, actually, compared in the same time frame. If we look at Explore, about the same, and then always everybody's favorite litmus test, we are in the Alchemy range. So seems a bit like the best of 1 meta, at least. It's seeing a bit of a decline just as these decks become more cannibalized in terms of these dedicated combo decks. So moving in, we got 4-color Leyline Geist, the highest win rate deck. So most played and highest win rate deck of the week. So for those of you who are unfamiliar with the combo, you mulligan your hand until you get a Leyline in your hand to start. So you have a Leyline in your hand. They're playing like Leyline in the Guild pack as well now. It doesn't really matter. Play whatever Leylines. Sanctity and Void are the best just in case you get extras. But you need 1 into play, and you need a basic land, or you need 1 land, and you need a Fragment Reality. That's all you need. What you do is your Leyline comes to play turn 0, you Fragment Reality when your Leylines, and then it brings to play Geist to Saint-Traft. From there, you just equipped it with just a bunch of auras, and you smack your opponent's face with it. It's basically the entirety of the deck. That's it. This version here is playing a little bit more disruption in terms of Spell Pierce, Coercive Defense. It's got Slip Out of the Back has been taken out. You have Fly effects just to give it evasion. and kind of going from there. The easiest way they fix this, it's all because of this digital card. While I'm a fan of a lot of the digital cards that they've made, I think this one is just one where they really just need to change one word. It's literally just to say exile target whatever an opponent controls. That's all that needs to do. And then you fix the deck. It can still be used as a Swords to Plowshare. It's kind of adjacent card. Just doesn't allow this kind of shenanigan to happen. But that's my thoughts on the deck. Moving on, we got Domain Zoo, 69%. We're seeing Breakout being played more in the deck just to cheat into play your creatures with haste. Stubborn Denial helps in the Show and Tell matchup just to give you a counter spell. A nice aggressive clock. We've seen Ragavan being trimmed more and more in lieu of the Deathrite Shamans. This list now is kind of cut out the 3-drops. We've seen Jarsoul in the past. We've seen Oko. Times we've seen Minskin. It's effectively operating now solely with 1 and 2 drops, as Leyline Binding typically counts as a 1-drop in the deck. You got the Companion, a bunch of burn between Lightning Bolt and Tribal Flames as well. Kavu's a big hit, Nashiba Brawler, all play really nicely into the effect. You have Inti that can also enable Trample on something like the Kavu as well. Then we go to Omnitell, 68%, 110 games. So this is the all-in combo version with Mastermind's Acquisition. You're going to see basically 2 versions of the deck. You'll have the Mastermind's Acquisition version, that's the combo version, and then you'll have the Fae of Wishes. The Fae of Wishes version could win through Graveyard Hate. This version of the deck cannot win through Graveyard Hate, so if they have like a Leyline out, or if they have a Deathrite Shaman, they can disrupt the combo. So basically the core of the deck, what you want to do is have Show and Tell, cast Omniscience, and then you go Mastermind's Acquisition. Or actually this one does have a Fae of Wishes in here as well. So this one, yeah, can win both ways. But Mastermind's Acquisition, and this particular version here, you get either, so you could start it off, you go Mastermind's Acquisition for Shared Summonings. Shared Summonings would then get you Fae of Wishes and Atraxa. Then Fae of Wishes will get you Approach of the Second Sun. You cast Approach of the Second Sun, you cast Atraxa. Atraxa finds you your copy of Approach of the Second Sun. If you already have the Fae of Wishes in hand, you Mastermind's Acquisition for Approach of the Second Sun. Or you can Shared Summonings and then get 2 Atraxas. There's kind of options in that case. Born of the Winds lets you combo at instant speed. So you can cast Omniscience if they try to respond with it. Agent of Treachery, Meteor Golem, anything of that nature. You can kind of combo before that point there. The rest of the deck is just basically finding your combo pieces. Demonic Tutor, Assemble the Teams, Impulse style effects all mixed in. You can see me, I don't know, it's fun to do this once or twice, but for my type of gameplay, I just don't enjoy it. I haven't even crafted them yet. But the deck is effective. It is one of the tentpoles of the format. If you enjoy combo, this is a very, very consistent and strong combo. Moving on, we go to Rakdos Storm, and this is, so I phrase this as a mid-range deck that could combo. So it's got a fair mid-range plan and a combo plan. So the reason I kind of phrase it with that is compare it, and I'm welcoming to like your thoughts on this as well. When I see a deck like Belcher, where the only way you could win is through the combo of enabling Belcher. A deck like this is basically have another win con. You can win with just beating down with Dragon Rage Channeler, with Bowmaster, with Ragavans, with Stitcher Suppliers, with Luris. Like you can kill your opponent without relying on the combo, but it has a combo element to it as well. I would even say to some extent like the Omnitell deck is like that. While you can definitely win through the combo, there's games as well where you just cheat into play Atraxa on like turn 2 or 3, and you can beat down that way. There's other ways to win. Omnitell's a little bit softer because a lot of it is enabled around Show and Tell. So if they can disrupt the Show and Tell, they can do that. But like decks like this, it's the same vein with like Titan is kind of a combo-esque deck that has a fair game plan. The Natural Order decks, like the Sultai Natural Order, you can play a Sultai mid-range deck and then, you know, turn 3, cheat out an Atraxa kind of deal. All kind of mixed into there. So that was kind of the idea here. For those unfamiliar, you're basically kind of putting cards into your graveyard through things like Stitcher Supplier, the Surveil. Eventually what you do is you cast in the World Breach, you chain together Dark Rituals, and then you tutor for Tendrils of Agony, and then Storm kill them that way there. Luris Companion. So there's ways like you can loop Stitcher Suppliers with Diabolic Intent, which gives you enough cards in your graveyard each time to kind of reestablish the loop, and then you can just kind of kill them that way there. Then going on, we go to Grixis Shadow. So this is, there's a few different variants of the Shadow decks, Death Shadows being the card in mention. So this is kind of dealing damage to yourself to get a big creature. The version of the deck has Deathrite Shaman, so you'll notice a green source just for its other activated ability. A lot of powerful cards here, 1 and 2 drops, full set of Spell Pierce helps in a lot of these combo matchups. Your shadows can kind of scale. You have Bowmasters, Expressive Iterations for card advantage, Copy Treasure Cruise, some counter spells mixed into there as well, but just basically hand hate, card advantage, and then cheap threats that can close the game out quickly, all within a Lurish shell as well. Interesting with this how the mana base is set up, you have 1 basic in this deck, but it's not black, so you can't actually cast any of these, which is an interesting inclusion for Blood Moon. Just thinking about like that, I would maybe find a way to just play a basic swamp, just given that like Deathrite can break you out of it. I could understand the Spell Pierce, but I think having a basic swamp could also be useful. Moving on, we go to Mono Green Titan. So we've seen the Titan list now adapt in the Archdruid's Charm. This gives you another way to find your key lands, shoot them into play. But the core of the deck, again, you can go the fair, just I'm going to ramp, play a Primeval Titan, get a bunch of lands. You can also do the like turn 3, cast Natural Order on one of your dorks, get Primeval Titan, get Titan of Industry, get Greater Hoof Behemoth, whatever it may be. A bunch of different utility lands in the deck. The combination of Sunken Citadel as well as Castle Garenbrig cheats on mana. So for this basically requires only 3 mana. So this typically would be 5 lands. You can do it with 4 lands, so it gets it out earlier for Primeval Titan. Field of the Dead makes you a bunch of tokens, and then you have Westvale Abbey once you make a bunch of tokens to give you another angle of attack with an evasive lifelinking body. Moving on, we go to 4-color Realmbreaker. This one peaked a little, it's coming down a bit at 54%, but the core of this deck is basically Tutor with Demonic Tutor, Assemble the Team, or Wish Collect Talisman. What you want to get is your single copy of Channel, which is restricted, as well as Realmbreaker, the Invasion Tree. You cast Channel, generate either the 3 mana for Realmbreaker plus the 10 to activate, or just the 10 to activate if you already have it in play, and then it cheats into play all these Praetors. The Urbrask gives your creatures haste, so you can just alpha swing. So it's Natural Order for a bunch of big creatures that all get haste the turn they come in. Again, this is what I would consider more of an all-in combo. You're not really going to win the majority of these games without kind of the combo element of it. Pact of Negation kind of signifies those all-in combos. They're not planning on having a turn after the turn they cast Realmbreaker. You have a Karn board here, which can get you another copy of Realmbreaker, as well as a bunch of utility spells as well as relevant. So last week or the week before, there was a 5-color humans list. I posted a video on it as well. I was doing pretty well. It's kind of fallen off this week. I was continuing to play the deck a bit, and I've been revising iterations of it. I was actually 9-1 at one point, and then went 1-3, I think. 7-1, and then I pulled 9-1, and then I went 1-3 after. So still 10-4 with it, but I've been trying out different things along the way. One thing is the deck was very soft to Blood Moon, which kind of sucked. So I just went a couple of planes in here to kind of help. Still got like the 12 soul lands, got rid of the Ziggurats in there. But I included Giver of Runes. While not a human, it's helped me out in a lot of games just as a protection spell. It also gives a kind of pseudo unblockable. It also plays pretty nicely because your Juggernaut Peddlers will give your opponent a Juggernaut, but then you can give it protection from colorless, so you can actually block it, kind of trade from there. I also switched Lavinia for Meddling Mage. I found this much better. It attacks the angle in the same way against the Show and Tell matchup, but in other matchups it plays really nice. You can name, I named Sheoldred, I named One Ring, I named Winota. Like there's a whole bunch of different things you can name and kind of tax them that way there. Again, it plays really nice with the Peddler where you see their hand and then you can name something with it. Specialist rebuys you your stuff, Kitesail Larcenist. I went Coppercoat Vanguard as another Anthem effect and Lord, and then I went with the full set of Inquisition Captains, just more card advantage in the deck. Still fun deck. You can kind of outpace the Geist deck. You can go pretty wide. And just with Reflector Mage bouncing things, it gives you a lot of utility there. And I just want to show like the win rates. The Winota deck's really fallen off 49%. And then the Jund mid-range Blood Moon deck. Actually, this wasn't the Blood Moon version, but we see like Jund mid-range in various capacities. This is actually the highest win rate Jund deck. This one is at 47%. So some of these like fairer decks, kind of creature combo decks, have fallen off a lot in the last week. The only other deck that like I was trying out personally myself was the Vein Ripper Sorin combo deck. We went 6 and 5, like through all the variations I was playing. It was just slightly above 50%. It's a fun deck. If you want just a fun deck to try out, basically Sorin cheated to play Vein Ripper. If you have Dark Ritual, you can do it on turn 1. But like Sorin can also just keep flinging Bloodghast at your opponent since it's a vampire. I was trying Necropotence versions without Necropotence. I think largely the non-Necro is probably the version you want. Yeah, at least in Besta 1 because it's more aggressive, but started off like promising 5 and 1, and then we went 1 and 3. Like all my brews, like recently, I've gone like 80% win rate and then 10% win rate. It's just been very inconsistent with some of them, but we're trying out things. But as long as like Geist and some of these more punishing decks exist, it's going to be really hard to brew in the format, at least at this point. But welcome your thoughts on that. We'll wrap it up for the week, and I'll get you best of 3 as soon as I can get some data. Thanks for watching. Hope you have a great one, and stay safe out there.